welcome back to the stream. It's been a while. However, I mostly survived. Oh, I did not, however, turn off my my notifications, which I'm going to do right now because they're very loud and upsetting because they're the sound from Westworld. So anyways, we are back. We are back after a bit of a break because I was attacked by my major research paper. This is StarTrekkin. I sort of have finished my master's. That's a long story, but we'll get to it. Live wrong and expire, as we like to say around here. I am Nicole. And on the other side of Toronto is Green. How's it going tonight?
It goes. Usually I watch the episodes on Thursday when they drop. But I just finished watching both of them not even an hour ago. So they are like right fresh in my memory today.
I watched them yesterday, so I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to the same. I'm going to change my name so we look like identical here because I forgot how we did this around here. That's how long it's been, people. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we were actually just having a conversation, not to like immediately have a digression, but we were having a conversation just before this whole thing went down, and Green suggested we just go on stream and start having this conversation right off because we were sort of disagreeing on the whole thing, a situation, which was Green. What were you saying?
So I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 currently, and I'm not really, despite being a huge role-playing nerd. I've never been a D&D person. I've always disliked D&D.
Which is funny, which I also dislike D&D. I am not a D&D fan. I've played it a few times. I have, in fact, been a professional storyteller. Storyteller, what am I saying? Professional dungeon master for D&D. My major research paper, I read over 100 D&D papers. And I will be doing my dissertation on D&D. I do not like D&D.
I'm currently. I just recently, like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, started playing in a 5th ed campaign, and I gotta say, Hasbro's an evil, shitty company, and I definitely have some problems, some lore issues, and some like. I have a lot of problems with D&D that haven't gone away in 5th ed, but I find now that I'm playing this 5th ed campaign, the core mechanics of D&D, I'm enjoying, because I haven't played it since 3rd ed, since 3.5, and I hated 3.5.
Which you were also saying is for mechanical reasons and not for some of the other...
Yeah.
No, actually, I think it's 4. I think it's 4 that's more tied. It's 4 that's more tied to the D20 situation.
Well, I mean, third was the D20. Like 3rd is where D20 comes from. Like the OGL and all that starts with 3rd. I've never played 4th. I thumbed through a couple of the books. I didn't understand the complaints, but I also never played it. I like me thumbing through 4th ed books, being like, why is everyone complaining about this? This is just Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But I never played it, so I can't give any hands-on comment on 4th ed. But I'm enjoying the mechanics of 5th ed. But as I was saying, they kind of play like a World of Darkness game now. Like not setting a lore and theme, they're all very different. But if you look at like the base mechanics, it plays like the old Chronicles of Darkness LARP rules.
Okay, see, yeah, that might be where I was like a little because I didn't play much Chronicles of Darkness very much.
I mean, I met you at a Chronicles of Darkness LARP. Vampire the Requiem.
Chronicles of Darkness.
It sure is. There was some. there's branding shenanigans.
How? Okay, yeah, because I get confused because. Sorry, I get confused because I always think of Chronicles of Darkness
what you and I would know
Onyx
as
Path.
well, they're the same setting though. What you and I would know as New World of Darkness, when Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition was announced, because they didn't want two product lines called World of Darkness competing with each other's, what we called New World of Darkness got rebranded as Chronicles of Darkness.
Oh, okay, because I always associate Chronicles of Darkness with Onyx Path specifically.
Yeah, I mean that is all the Onyx Path era, but like Vampire the Requiem 2nd edition is branded Chronicles of Darkness.
Interesting. See, Requiem is my controversial sort of role-playing opinion, is that Requiem is always better than Masquerade, and it will always be better than Masquerade.
I like 66. No, I like 75% agree with you.
Yeah.
I think
there are certain things about Masquerade that maybe are slightly better. But yeah.
I like the lore stuff in Masquerade. I mean, may not the. I as a GM, I find the really open, like there's no set lore, of Requiem really liberating. As a player, I like that really in-depth lore because it gives me story hooks I can make characters around.
I just liked how you can build characters in Requiem.
The
actual
game design.
Yeah.
The actual game design of Requiem is far superior to Masquerade, hands down.
Yeah, like the fact that like I could build a character in Requiem. See, Gary, that's when Gary shows up for his he just walked in the room. Gary showed up for one of his favorite.
Gary heard Vampire and was like, gotta be there.
He appeared. Gary heard Requiem and appeared. Gary ran a Requiem game. That was an exceptional Requiem LARP.
Which is where we met.
We I think we'd been around other things, but we didn't really know each other well. But yeah, Requiem allowed me to create like a super unique character, like everyone to create a super unique character. Yeah. Like in the way I describe it is in Masquerade, every Toreador is pretty much the same. In Requiem, every Deva is different based on their covenant, based on what they choose to do. And if you choose to make a character that has, like, if you go far long enough, you can specialize your character's abilities.
It also the way it handles bloodlines is better. In like Masquerade, if you'd be like, I want to play a Caius, everyone's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Here comes a special snowflake. Whereas Requiem kind of understands everyone wants to play the special snowflake. And they just let you do that. And the way they get around
everybody
for the lore,
can be a special snowflake.
The way they get around for the lore is they're like all of the bloodlines are tied to one of the 6 clans. And I like that structurally. So I think I got some issues with the lore on Requiem in that I wish it had more. So I kind of prefer Masquerade for its lore, but on a game design level, Requiem just blows Masquerade out of the water. Yeah.
I also like that you could create covenants, like it's literally said that in the rules, and that's always a nice thing.
And the 5 covenants are more interesting than the Sabbat Camarilla. Like,
no, I think they are. They're really fascinating. Like, I mean, I like the Sabbat and the Camarilla when you really start, when you get to be a vampire nerd, like they can be interesting, but they're very,
the Sabbat got ruined when they became an evil cult.
Yeah, well, it did. I mean, when you play the Sabbat and you I hated the Sabbat, and then I went to Convention of Thorns, which was a huge vampire LARP, which is like set in the 13th century, and basically is where the Sabbat is formed. and playing that vampire LARP and playing one of the founders of the Sabbat or whatever, like that's where you're like, oh, hey, we're the good guys, actually. And when you start to realize there's like a point to all of this, and they're not like the evil cult of like evil vampires that like to go around being evil and stupid and play football with humans and whatever.
The True Black Hand kind of ruined the spot because they were really interesting, and then the True Black Hand came out and was like, oh no, they're not actually like the lefty vampires, they're an evil cult, and everything interesting about them was just thrown out the window.
It was just like, really playing this whole like, no, we want freedom. Like screw your, like I was like, I kept saying the rules, we were like, the rules are, there ain't no rules. That was basically our rules. So I but I think the other thing is that in Requiem, because the covenants are like, because there's more of them and there's not one that is truly ascendant, they have to play nice with each other a little more. There are cities and no clan is ascendant, which is really nice. Rarely.
And
or clans and covenants kind of like, it's like a whole
if you as a GM, when you're designing your city, want to be like the Invictus are ascendant in this city, you can do that, but the game isn't expressly made for that. So the game assumes that all covenants are more or less equally powerful. And so what happens is that means that they can't go to open warfare with each other, and they have to get along. That makes the game a lot more politically interesting. So like I said, I wish the game had some beefy, maybe not even as beefy, because Masquerade lore goes out the window if you go deep enough into it. But I wish it had more lore, enough that I could like to give me plot hooks on how to build characters. The lore is the one thing I think Requiem does, or Masquerade does better than Requiem. Other than that, I actually think Requiem is the better game. I'll
have to look at D&D and see kind of how it might relate. But like, I mean, the thing about D&D, and I've just been talking about this recently and writing a bit about that, is that I find it frustrating in how it's kind of influenced almost every other role-playing game. Is that funneling towards combat? Is that almost the experience of role play in almost every game, including Vampire, really is focused on combat. And that's...
I will say Fifth Ed still has robust combat mechanics. I don't want to say that it's not a combat-focused game, because it is. But they are, each edition after third moves it away. Like you can have social builds in Fifth Ed, which were really not viable in third.
I mean it's always an add-on, like it's a tweak, I mean it's just like essentially at its basis the game is a violent racist, sexist game. I'm sorry.
No. Like I don't actually disagree. I think more of that comes in from the setting than from the mechanics.
Oh no. I have a whole argument.
Oh no.
Basically,
let me clarify. I think most of that when it comes to Fifth Ed.
It's the basis of like a lot of like D&D is the basis of so many video games and basis of almost all fantasy RPGs. And is the basis of almost all tabletop RPGs. System and setting. And so it comes almost all from wargaming. There's a couple other areas that I need to look at. Like, I mean, I found out from one thing that I read that Gary Gygax was involved in the design of a spy LARP. In the 80s, which was not something that is very documented. It's only documented in very few books and very few papers.
Well, there was a TSR spy game. I only learned about it recently. Top Secret. Top Secret is what it's called.
Well, there's a LARP game, something X. I've got to look up the name. But there's a Dungeons and Dragons philosophy book that the foreword specifically talks about. And Gary Gygax talks about his design of that and how he spoke about how this was sort of influenced his design in that and D&D, about how he had a friend when he was a kid who was sick. And hang on, I gotta call one of the cats in. She only listens to me for food. One moment.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to hear me. Just be clear. I might defend D&D 5th Ed on a mechanics level, and that I think the mechanics are fun. You're not going to hear a lot of defense from me of Gary Gygax.
Oh no, I just thought it was really interesting that he talked about how his friend was sick when he was a kid, and he played all these make-believe games with this guy. And he and his friends, all these, they would play their spies, they would play cowboys and Indians, they would play all this different stuff, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so they did this elaborate make-believe stuff, and he said, oh, this influenced D&D and it influenced the LARP game that I'm making. And I'm like, I have never even heard of Gary Gygax LARPing. I've heard of Dave Ernison sort of doing pseudo LARP with Napoleonic town. And so I think sometimes, even though there's a lot of systemic influences that are super problematic in D&D, I think there's a lot to investigate in the roleplay aspects that people have not really given credit to. That are actually maybe more LARP based than we think about, which is me really undermining a lot of my arguments, but at the same time, I'm I have to, I'm not a good scholar.
I've been getting a lot into OSR lately. I really am digging a lot of old school revival stuff.
I have a friend who's really into that. We were on opposite sides of Google Plus back in the day, and we're talking about doing some work on that because it's OSR. He's OSR is not all Zach Sabbath,
Oh, yeah, I didn't even realize Zach Sabbath was in the OSR scene. I associate him with World Darkness.
Sabbath is very connected to OSR, and a lot of people
I didn't realize that.
OSR with racism and
I mean, Zach Sabbath is a awful human being. But I none of the OSR stuff I'm involved with. And granted, I mean, is maybe he's involved with Lamentations of the Flame Princess, which isn't OSR. Yeah, see,
that was the big reason, that among other things, but that was one of the big ones.
Yeah, I won't go anywhere near Lamentations of the Flame Princess. But Ultraviolet Grasslands is just a great little OSR game.
Cool. There's a lot of good work apparently in it. It was just back in G Plus days when Zach was very involved in that, it was sort of OSR in indie games, story games, and never the twain shall meet, So I think there was Jets and Sharks kind of mentality for a while. Less so now. But I mean, I think that's one of the reasons Alex and I working on these things together, my friend, would be really good, because academically, at least, it would provide a little bit of a bridge, which would be cool. But OSR, has some good stuff. Doesn't Morkborg basically come out of OSR?
Morkborg is definitely an OSR game. I love me some Morkborg. Morkborg's great.
People love Morkborg, man. That's what I always say when people mention it. People fucking love that game.
Yeah, Morkborg's great.
You either love it or you hate it. But I mean, the game was powered by the apocalypse, I think. Or Forged in the Dark.
Morkborg is its own system. Which is very, very.
No, I mean, it's the same sort of thing. You either love that or you hate it, right?
And it's extremely hackable.
Mm-hmm. Which is the same as all of those systems. These are all extremely hackable systems that I think are either into or you're not into. It's either your jam or it's not. Which is cool. Yeah. I think that's great. That's especially great given everyone playing D&D is the thing right now. And I think it's important to have a lot of things that are this can totally be your jam or it's not. Not everyone has to play this. And I'm great. not everyone should play this. It should be this is the queer monster Buffy game, Monster Hearts, right?
Yeah.
Play this if that's the experience you want. And this is the like weird, creepy D&D type game that's kind of gross and strange. Morkborg. Play that if that's the experience you want, right? Like, go ahead.
Well, and that's where like I still even as I defend D&D and its like core mechanics, I still think like one, Hasbro is awful, but also
they hire
like,
Pinkertons. Yeah,
they literally hire Pinkertons, but also like I think it does take way too much oxygen in the room, right? Like
that's why I started doing like all of my work, is because I started getting the ick about all of this. You know what I mean? Like, there's a real like, you know, the deification of role playing, and then there was the actual playification of gaming, and then as that happened, then everything moved to LA, right?
Yeah.
The LAification of actual play. And you know, it just goes on and on, right? So
I mean, you know me, I love me some good actual plays. I'm currently listening to Pink Fohawk, which is a great actual play.
Well, I mean, even listening to one, right, is different than producing one for video, because there's a aesthetic that's required. Like, we don't give a shit about what we look like, obviously.
Yeah,
the way I've come on here sometimes, like
the Alien actual play we were working on. We discussed whether we were going to like. I don't know if you were privy to this conversation specifically, but I discussed with some of the people in it if we were going to stream or if we were going to record, and like a lot of them were just like, I don't want to, like, especially the women in the group were just like, I don't want to put on makeup. Like, we stream, I gotta get like made up and stuff, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, like, I mean,
fair enough.
If I made some more effort, like, I mean, maybe more people would care about the stream, but sometimes I want to and sometimes I don't. And, you know, like, I got my hair done today, so it looks nice, you know? That's about it.
I talk about this on my other stream a lot. If I wanted to have the other stream be an actual job, and like, I know what I could do to pump the numbers. Like, because on that one time where I was like, fuck it, we're going after Peter Coffin today, like, we got a lot of viewership.
Well, yeah, if you spark the rage, you know.
If you beef, if you get into the beefs, if you get into the drama, people show up for that because it's interesting. And I just don't want to be that, even if it means that like I only get like, even if I only get like 5 or 7 viewers.
You never know, we might get sued. We mentioned Zach, so you know, he always loves to do that. That's his favorite thing.
I mean, to be fair, we actually made no accusations. You can call someone a piece of shit.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. And we made no accusations. I could make many.
Oh yeah, I know. I have heard. I'm sure not all, but many of the stories.
I'm sure you have. Yes, I'm sure you have. We've all heard stories. I've heard stories about a lot of people. If I wanted to have a beef stream, I could talk shit about.
He was. Oh yeah, the whole industry. He was my first actual play. He was my first actual play.
Oh really? Wow.
The one he did for The Escapist.
Oh Jesus. You know, and yeah, like, that's just another one of those people who's like, I'm so progressive. Look at how great I am. I'm streaming with these women, with these porn stars. I'm so cool, except I'm going to tell them how stupid they are because they're porn stars and women all the time. And then go from there. Exactly. Yep. Oh, well.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I want to do a porn D&D actual play someday.
Well, why not? You wouldn't tell porn stars that they're dumb and they can't do math because they do porn.
I mean, there is one called Tabletopless.
Oh, that's great. It's good.
Guy who runs it kind of gives it some Zach S vibes. I can't say anything specific about him.
See, you are not a creeper. That is that is the plus. You're definitely like, anyone who's interested in doing an actual play is important. Green is not emphatically not a creeper.
I should be on top of it, but Boulder Gate has consumed my life. I'm supposed to be doing an actual play with the Pink Mohawk guys of Hunter of the Reckoning to raise money.
That's right.
for people displaced by fires, displaced by and I have been neglecting my duties because I got consumed by this video game.
Displaced by fires in Canada specifically, yes, the north.
Yeah, for those who don't know, who might not be, Canada just got hit with a massive round of wildfires. Some of them are still going. And like several towns have just burnt down. Indigenous people are disproportionately affected. And I'm supposed to be arranging an actual play with some dudes from Pink Mohawk and some other native like role-playing nerds. And I have been negligent in my duties, so I need to get on top of that.
Yeah. I wanted to specify because there have been wildfires in many places recently, including
Hawaii also got hit hard, and California gets hit hard every year. Basically the way we live is utterly completely unsustainable, and we need to entirely change the entire way Western civilization operates.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Honestly, I think it's going to be a conversation in the next little while to whether traveling to these conferences is sustainable. In the sense that's happening, like either for both in the sense of like as many of my colleagues who are international students, like they point out, they can't just be getting visas all over the place, especially if conferences are held in the US. You're impossible.
This is what my other stream is dedicated. It's dedicated to topics like this, so I don't want to get too off topic, because if you want to hear me talk about that, listen to the IAF podcast, Indigenous Anarchist Chat. Basically, those plans are. I wouldn't worry too much about individual. Individual consumption is how we build movements. So like, you changing how you consume is not going to solve climate change. But individual action is the start of collective action. But
collective action is like a whole bunch of conferences deciding that they are not going to be like in different places around the world every year.
Yeah. Well, and it also is like, hey, fewer planes in general.
Well, yeah, right? Exactly. Like, let's not encourage people to travel as much as we are, even though, maybe once every 4 years it could be in person. Because it is important to see people face to face sometimes, but it's risky in terms of disease. It's difficult for people to have visas. It's expensive for us.
Also, trains, like you can switch to now. Trains won't get you across the ocean, but give people more time. Basically, we're in too much of a rush as a civilization, and the more in a rush you are, the more you do. The more carbon you burn, right? One of the main solutions to generating less carbon is just to work less. Because I'm in logistics, right? So like, as someone in logistics, logistics burns a lot of carbon, and if I'm around less and people like me are around less stuff gets shipped. That might be less convenient, but it also means less carbon is getting burnt. Right, so we just need to slow down productivity, which is like that's the core of degrowth. But the problem is that the productivity is how the ruling class builds capital, and they are least affected by climate change and have the least reason. So they're not incentivized for me to work less.
100%. No, and they have to find more work for you to do, basically. To fill up your leisure time to make you more
and they also have to like monetize your leisure time, which is also a problem. That's why It's why like video games are becoming full of microtransactions and shite. Although we are now way off topic, but
Yeah. So let's get to Star Trek. Finally, 31 minutes in. After we've gone through games and environmental collapse and all kinds.
Like I
of
said,
stuff.
if you want to hear more of me like going on
Definitely.
these environmental topics, I have an entire podcast basically dedicated to that.
One time, opposite Sundays to this one, essentially on A Bright Green City on Twitch. So, briefly, actually, we did get halfway through Strange New Worlds.
We did get halfway through Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I just looked at it because we got up to charades.
Yep.
So let's just talk about the season or the back end of the season.
Yeah.
Let's
talk about the back end. I mean, a lot of the interesting gimmicky episodes that are fun to talk about were all in the back end.
I didn't have too many issues. One of the main issues I had, I'm gonna say before we probably talk about maybe we'll save the Lower Decks crossover till the end, since we're going to talk about Lower Decks soon.
So we'll move the Lower Decks crossover episode to when we talk about Lower Decks.
Yeah, we could, or I mean, whatever happens. I mean,
okay,
we'll try. But the main issue I really had was with Under the Cloak of War, which is the 8th episode about the Klingon ambassador, and that was the guy from The Wire, which was great. If you watched The Wire,
I really liked that episode, but
I liked it too.
I thought I was tuning in to watch the musical episode, and so like for the first 15 minutes, I was like, okay, when they start singing, this is really dark for a musical episode.
Yeah, it really was. The only thing that I really liked it, and I thought I was really excited because it explained the whole relationship between Chapel and Omega, and I love their relationship. I am so into these guys. I keep calling them platonic life partners, and now I know they're trauma bonded, and so they can't be separated. And basically,
Benga specifically is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters.
I like him so much, but I am not down with the Doctor just straight up murdering a guy. I'm just I get it, and I get where he's coming from, and I get everything that happens, but he has taken an oath to preserve life, and he's just straight up murked a guy, and then is you know what, I'm Judge, Judy, and executioner, as they say.
I think,
straight up I don't care, I killed him, it's fine.
I think that's the tension they're trying to build with him, though. I think they're trying to I think that they're trying to explore that tension of him taking an oath and him blatantly breaking it. I didn't mind that as much as I actually minded him fighting the Klingons in the first episode, because I thought that was a little bit too action starry.
I would rather him. I think they want to just be okay, he's a BJJ MMA fighter, and he's award winning. He's amazing. Yeah. Let's just let him fight.
I don't mind him being a good fighter. I just think that scene in the first season. We talked about this extensively when.
Yeah.
But I think that scene was just pushed credibility a bit. It was a bit too action movie-y. But
I liked so much about this episode. Otherwise, I liked all the tensions with the Klingons. I loved Ortega's in it. I
didn't even mind him straight up murking that guy. I thought that was actually really interesting. Obviously, it's a breach of his oath as a doctor, and I think I hope they explore what that means.
Well, I mean, I guess it's a way to write him off, because I'm just sort of I want him to be a doctor or a spy, right? He's a ninja assassin or he's a doctor. If he's decided to walk the path of peace and be a doctor, be a doctor.
That gets into why I don't like him being an action star in episode 1. I don't mind him being this is a personal revenge, and I am going to break my oath to kill this man, despite I think that's because this man's a literal war criminal.
Oh yeah, no, I got where he was coming from. No, I even got where Whitechapel like fully backed him up. Like, I like that we didn't see it.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I like too. Like, I like that we don't know what the fuck went on.
Yeah.
And we just know that Chapel and him are just like, we are platonic life partners and ride or die. You know?
Yeah.
I will always lie for you. No matter what you've done.
I think if I have any issue with the back half of Strange New Worlds, it's the Gorn plot, the season finale. Granted, I did like this Gorn episode more than I liked the first season Gorn episode, but I just don't like the Gorn plot line.
Well, I mean, at least they're intelligent now, which was one thing that you were sort of like, that was such an, it was at first I was like, is this a zombie episode? And then I was like, oh no, this is Alien.
Yeah.
It was and I had a friend complaining about, oh, it wasn't a good zombie episode if you're going to do zombie tropes, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, man, it was the Alien.
But it's also a bad Alien episode.
Scream in her face.
Yeah, it's also a bad Alien episode. Like I said, at least the first season was. Second season is better. I still didn't love it. I just, like I said, I don't like their take on the Gorn. The Gorn being like a oligarchic hegemony, I'm cool with. The Gorn using humans as breeding pods, I'm cool with. But I just don't like how like, yeah, I don't know. There's just vibes about it that I just don't care for.
Yeah. The hallucinations episode, I wasn't crazy about either. There was like a few times, there's a few times on Strange New Worlds where I'm like,
you mean the episode? You mean the episode where they're forgetting things?
No, that was different. It was an episode where Uhura was hallucinating strange noises and rotting Hemmer.
Right.
And they were all being like poisoned, basically.
Yeah. Okay. I don't.
And it was it was messages from aliens who lived in the deuterium, and they were being killed by the refinery, and they were communicating with people.
Right.
So
okay,
he was basically. The aliens were basically. So I thought that was a cool way to communicate that the aliens were like, "Oh, you're basically killing us," and the only way to do that was through the hallucinations. But it was another episode with Strange New Worlds where I was like, when something is wrong, tell people. Tell people immediately. They're like, on the show, I find there's often, no, I'm fine, I'm just not feeling well initially. And I'm like, you've been through enough shit, guys, that when you're like seeing things or you're feeling dizzy or whatever, you fucking tell your superior officer.
Yeah. Please. I mean, clearly it didn't leave that much an impression on me. I forgot about it until you brought it up.
Yeah, it was okay. It came after Charades, which was like the Vulcan sitcom episode. So
that episode was great. Did we talk about that one on stream? Or
yeah, we did. We did. Okay. We talked about how Spring's dad just wanted to eat the human food that this guy made.
Right. That was the last. That was the last episode we did. Mm-hmm. That one. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It kind of just left no mark on me. But also it was right between like. It was right between a bunch of really memorable episodes. Because, I think right after it was the Lower Decks episode.
Yeah. It was right before the Lower Decks, right after Charades, and right before those old scientists.
So, it's kind of it was kind of like I said, it's not a bad episode. It wasn't particularly remarkable, and they put it between like two really memorable episodes.
Yeah. And they put it in the middle of a bunch of memorable episodes because it's like between Charades and then those old scientists, and after comes Under the Cloak of War, then the musical episode, and then Hegemony.
Yeah, well,
and Hegemony also has Scotty, which is like a great introduction for Scotty, and one of the first times Montgomery Scott is played by a Scottish person.
Although overall Strange New Worlds season 2 was so memorable that there would have been they would have had a very hard time placing the episode anywhere where it wouldn't have been overshadowed by other episodes.
Genesis of Legend says, I'm not super in love with the Gorn, but I'm glad it wasn't some of the alternatives.
I was really hoping that we were going to get Cybok. I was really hoping we were going to see Cybok in
like I was going to say almost all of our predictions about like this season, we didn't see Cybok, we didn't see Angel.
Yeah. We got almost everything right, but that one was totally wrong. I was so sure we'd see, because they had such a strong setup.
100%. I thought like T'Pring was in danger in some way, like 100%. But maybe now that they're estranged, something will happen. Like maybe that's what's gonna bring them back together.
Cybok moves on T'Pring,
or doesn't know because they're engaged. They're still engaged.
Yeah, well, they have to. So this is setting up TOS stuff. Because TOS, they're also engaged, but they're estranged, and like TOS is all about T'Pring calling. The TOS episode is all about T'Pring calling Spock back, being like, "You can't keep putting our marriage off. Like, you got to put up or shut up." And then Spock and Kirk fight for her love.
It's set up. I actually think this season, I didn't like it as much as the first season in a lot of ways, but it did set up a lot of TOS stuff really beautifully.
Yeah.
Really, really nicely, including like the whole thing with T'Pring and Chapel and everything.
Yeah.
Where, you see just Spock be so hurt by all of this.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you can see him just being like, I'm not going to put myself out here, and how can I talk to T'Pring about this after all of this? Maybe I should just pretend none of this ever happened. I'm just not going to talk to her. Genesis of Legend. Oh, this is a good point. They could have been rehashing Klingons more. They could have been dragging in Romulans more. At least the Garn is a little more fresh, and they could have sets up Lon nicely. Sets up Lon nicely for more suffering, you mean? This was the season where I'm like, God, can you give Lon a fucking break? Like,
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like, they're not going to end up together, obviously, but I feel like that Jim in the musical episode, I was very proud of Lon, by the way, that she told him without
the musical episode was fucking great. I loved it. I thought
it was so good. There were so many good parts.
We needed more K-pop Klingons, though.
The K-pop Klingon. That was Hammer, by the way. You know that? The main Klingon guy?
I did not realize.
The Klingon captain was the guy who played Hammer. So, that was pretty cool. Anyway, the K-pop Klingons, and also Sam is apparently grooving in the background to the K-pop Klingons, which I need to watch again for Sam.
I need to watch it again. My
sister
sister came into the living room to talk to me just as that moment was happening. So
life is suffering when you're the great grandkid. Apparently it is. Well, anyway, I was really proud of Lon. I cried when Una sang to Lon to tell her that she, needed to like be careful, but also like open up herself to people. But I was like, oh my God, I love these two. They're the best friends. It's so beautiful. But I was like really happy that Lon talked to Jim, but I felt like also Jim let her down in a way that also kind of left things open, because he's sort of like, well, Carol's having my kid, but it's not a great relationship.
Yeah, I mean that's all the movie stuff, right? So like this is why in Star Trek V Kirk is racist towards Klingons. Sorry, not Star Trek V, Star Trek 6. Kirk is racist towards Klingons because he's like, I'll never forgive them for killing my son.
Yeah, well, actually, apparently Will Wheaton pointed out, you see why in TOS too, Like everybody's like, if Khan later on is this huge genocidal maniac, right? Why did in TOS Kirk let him go initially? And it's like, well, now there's a reason for it. If he knew Lon and could feel something for Lon, maybe he was like, oh, well, this Khan guy, well, if he's, related to Lon, maybe he's not that bad. Maybe
fair enough, because he did basically let Space Hitler go.
Yeah, he let Space Hitler go.
You probably don't want to do.
And then later on, he's like, oh God, he's Space Hitler. And then he's like, well, how am I going to tell Lon that Space Hitler, her great-great-grandfather, murdered my wife and my girlfriend and son, and,
Well, it wasn't, I think it wasn't his son. Khan didn't murder his son. Klingons murdered his son. Specifically, can't remember on the actor's name. Christopher Lloyd.
Oh,
Christopher Lloyd killed his son.
Okay.
But I think Khan. Man, I just watched these not that long ago. I should
Khan probably ordered it though.
I think Khan did kill his ex-wife, like the father of, the mother of his son. I think was killed by Khan.
Yeah. That would
but yeah, it was Christopher Lloyd who killed. That's why, like I said, that's why he's all racist towards Klingons in episode 6 or in the 6th.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. So, they did. I was excited though that they ended the episode, the last episode, in a sort of like a very, very TNG way. It felt very TNG the way that episode 10, Hegemony, ended. Like everything's going bad. Pike has to make a decision. It was ending like a huge cliffhanger, and it felt very, best of both worlds kind of ending.
Yeah.
And they said that they went for that, and I was really excited for it. And I'm like, I really hope like they have Rebecca Romaine do voiceover next season, like last time on Strange New Worlds. Like they used to have Mitchell do it. So. I hope they will. I think they probably will, because they really like to do shout-outs, and they do them in a different way than Lower Decks, I think, but they definitely they do them. It's really nice.
We're going to get am I correct that we're getting another Strange New Worlds Lower Decks crossover?
I think so, yeah. I would guess. I said the greatest thing, someone put their cat in Tana cosplay and photoshopped them into the Strange New Worlds crossover, like, into the arch thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where Tana's like in this orange cat in Tana cosplay is like, hey, you forgot me, assholes. It's very funny. Just an actual cat wearing Tana's clothes is kind of funny. I like cats. Anyway. I am shocked that there aren't a dozen Kirks running around. Perhaps there will be more. Like there was a secret card child at some point.
Well, he also has those two daughters that is implied died but never confirmed in the super.
Where was that?
That's from TOS. When he was in Red Face, when they come across the space natives. He has two daughters. And then it's implied they died so they don't like, look, we can't have the hero of our show be a deadbeat.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate. So I have no idea what's gonna happen next season, Strange New Worlds. I would imagine if Christina Chong has anything to say about it, there will be more musical episodes because she harassed them into doing that apparently. So I'm
actually a little surprised there hasn't been more musical episodes of Star Trek. going back and thinking about it, I'm surprised there wasn't a musical episode of DS9 because that was when musical episodes were starting to become a thing.
Yeah, they had some nice Buffy shout outs in there too. That was really well done.
Yeah. Well,
they talked about the bunnies, and there was another thing that they did that I thought was quite good. I forget.
I mean, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is where the musical episode starts. It starts with them. But they were running concurrent with DS9. If I remember correctly, they were anyways.
I'm pretty sure they were. There have been other musical episodes, but Buffy's was like one of the biggest ones.
I think Buffy is what turned it into a thing.
Yeah, it definitely turned it into a thing because it was probably one of the first dramatic shows to do it.
Yeah.
And actually like have a reason that wasn't a dream for it to happen in the show, which was something that Strange New Worlds did really well, to have an actual in-world reason for it to be happening.
Yeah,
like Buffy had the demon, they had the anomaly. It worked really well.
I didn't watch Buffy. I wasn't a big fan of Buffy. I did watch that individual episode. I did think it was clever.
Yeah, it was a clever idea. It was really well done. I wasn't sure how they were going to do it.
Just
I'm
like
not always big into it.
Same thing with the puppet episode of Angel. I had some hardcore Buffy friends who are just like, you're watching these specific episodes. Like, yeah, those are all pretty good episodes.
Puppet Angel was amazing.
Watching your show.
Puppet Angel was amazing. It was so good. It was pretty amazing. Yeah, probably. I expect they will be dragging in Bones next season, and I hope they do drag in Mitchell and Yeoman Rand. Yeah, I probably, if these last 2 seasons are any indication, I would guess that we will see McCoy towards the end of the next season. I really liked Pelia and Scotty. That Pelia, like Scotty, was one of her best students with terrible grades. I'm like, yeah, that story checks out. I feel like that makes sense.
Some Mariner energy there.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of Mariner, the crossover episode was Gary at the time was like, I want to sort of not have expectations because I don't want to get too excited and think it's going to be great and have it not be what I wanted to be or is great.
I think I set myself up for failure. I don't want to say it was a bad episode. It was not. It was perfectly enjoyable. I think I set my expectations a little bit too high. I think the problem is me, not the show.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was very well done. I thought the characters fit in really well, and they did a really excellent job.
Yeah, it's like I said, I genuinely think it's a good episode. I genuinely think it holds up strong. I think it's solid Star Trek. I think I let myself get carried away too much by the hype.
Yeah, probably. I thought especially. Go on.
No Tendy, no Rutherford.
Yeah, that was kind of sad, but I knew that wasn't going to happen.
There
were only 2 people coming.
All right, picture this alternate ending of the episode, because I thought they were going to do this. I was expecting this to happen. It was set up, and they just didn't pull the trigger on it. Which is at the very end of the episode, when they think they have finally solved it, it fades to black. And then it goes to Mariner and Boimler on the Cerritos. I thought they were going to go fade to black, and then they were going to be like, now they have 4 of them as a final teaser right before they end the episode. Tendi and Rutherford are also there.
Oh. On the Cerritos or
no, back in time.
Oh, okay. Because you said the Cerritos, so I was confused. Sorry.
No, they were in the actual episode. They were back on the Cerritos.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying there's an alternate ending somewhere where instead of Mariner and Boimler ending back on Cerritos, they go through the future back thing. They make the thing work again, and then fade to black, and then cut again, and you're still on the alien planet with the transportation. Only now, Tendi and Rutherford are there too.
That just I see that, but that wouldn't work very well for continuing on with either show.
I like you couldn't assume that they would get fixed in downtime after that.
People would not assume. Star Trek fans would not assume. They would be, how did they get back? What happened in between? You know, you could
throw a bit line in Lower Decks about it, like they did.
You and I would be fine with that. No one else would be. Like literally, no one else would be. I really enjoyed the way they ended it with the alcohol turning everyone into cartoons.
I mean, yes. Everyone getting high off of really like fucked up alcohol was a good bit.
Yeah,
Spock with the rubber arms.
And I loved seeing everyone's animated self, because I had really wanted to. I got Jack calling Una the hottest first officer in Starfleet history, and I'm like, they didn't meet each other, but at least Jack called her hot because they're married.
Yeah,
that just makes me happy, and so I was like, oh, that's cool. But
I think they did meet each other though, because like he was really weird towards her.
Ransom didn't meet.
Oh,
I'm saying Ransom didn't meet
Ransom,
Una.
right.
Right. He was just like numero una, the hottest first officer in Starfleet history. And I was like, that means Jack thinks she's hotter than him, which is actually very impressive.
As we established in this season of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah. So, no, he got all weird about it, and it was kind of fun because they referred her to her being a pinup, which kind of refers back to Rebecca Romaine being in Sports Illustrated, basically, as well.
She's convinced something terrible happens to her. It's like, no, he just idolizes you.
Yeah. Well, also, she thought, like, maybe she was a creepy poster, and, like, the way that Mariner was, like, so confused, like, that would never even happen. Like, how would either pinup posters don't exist then, or she's just like, Una would never be on that. You would never be on that poster. You would never. We would never. You're so respected. Oh, my God. And just the way... Mariner's actor is able to do her, like she said, she's basically her, but the way she's able to do her mannerisms so well was crazy. Same with the guy who plays Boimler. Just really great. Able to do that walk when he did the section 31 walk, like his fast walk. Okay, they're just really funny. And his Riker thing, apparently that was improvised. He just jumped up and did Riker, and he did that in front of that was Frakes. He was
directed that episode.
Yeah, he did it right in front of Frakes. Frakes said his wife laughed her head off when she saw that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It was they improvised a lot, and apparently that doesn't happen a lot on the Strange New World set. So they said it was a real big energy, like the whole thing Mariner said about how hot young Spock was fully improvised. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was I hope they do a lot more of those. Everybody on Stranger World said it was great having them there. They just brought a lot.
Like I said, I understand that they were constrained because they involve more makeup, but I really hope they get Tendi, and I really want to see a Tendi and Rutherford live action at some point.
I think they'll do it. They all look the same. I think Eugene Cordero is probably just slightly shorter. Then they animate Rutherford, and I don't think it's a problem for Tendi.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just slap some green paint on her, she's good.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to do. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's an issue. I just think it was a matter of they were going to do 2 of them first. So, didn't Rutherford call through the portal though?
He does,
and they told him not to come through. So
that's why I thought they
were like, no.
That's why I thought they were going to end with Tendi and Rutherford coming through the portal. I thought they were setting that like.
That was really funny.
I think
that's a hint that they're definitely gonna have them like go back in time later on.
Because at first it's just Boimler goes through, and then they're about to send Boimler back, and then Mariner comes through.
Well, that's because it was too easy, and Boimler is too easy to deal with on his own. He's just, over eager. Mariner's a wrecking ball.
Mariner's Chaos Goblin. But I really thought that they were when they opened the portal again, and everyone's just like, "Hey, we're coming through!" And I'm like, "No!" I really thought they were setting up them coming through and making an even bigger problem for the Enterprise.
You would have heard about it. It was very clear that it was 2 of them, and we would have heard if there were more.
Not if it was not. I mean, you might have heard about it, but not necessarily if it was just a end of episode stinger as a bit gag, where nothing gets.
They wouldn't have put them in that much makeup for a bit gag.
It's true.
No,
and that's clearly why they. And that is clearly why.
And also, they wouldn't have. No one wants to put up with that kind of questioning from the fans or irritation from the fans about how did they get back? Why did you do that?
Sell them a novel. Have IDW publish a comic about it. Sell them the comic.
No one would be happy with that. I mean, I get it, and I get I'm perfectly fine with ambiguity. I love it, but people who are obsessed with canon will never be okay with that. Never in a million years, unfortunately. All right. So, Lower Decks. We just talked about Lower Decks being on Strange New Worlds, and they mentioned that in the Lower Decks episodes that we just saw that have just come out. And they dropped 2 on the same day. Not sure why, but let's talk about them. They premiered with 2 episodes. Why did they do that? We don't know.
Probably because I think I actually do know why. Because they premiered 1 episode of Strange New Worlds early, so they had to fill a time slot. No, I guess that wouldn't make sense because they weren't premiered close enough for that to matter. Never mind. My on second thought, my explanation makes no sense.
Who knows? Maybe they were just doing it for fun. Maybe they've got Discovery coming up sooner than expected. Yeah. Well, they did have to reshoot Discovery, so maybe it's all running into each other. Who knows? With
the SAG after strike, I mean, those actors can't do any reshoots now, so they probably, rather than wait for them to do more reshoots, they're probably trying to cobble together whatever they have.
Well, didn't they do most of it already? I don't know.
I don't know where they were in filming the reshoots when I don't know if they were done, mostly done, halfway done, whatever. I just know that they were doing reshoots, and then there was a strike. I don't know how that affects the production of the reshoots.
That is a good question. We probably won't know until it comes out and people are like...
There'll be interviews about it when we get closer to Discovery, but...
Yeah, or when it happens and people are like, why was it like that? And there'll be someone who's like, or director or someone who will say it was like that because of the strike. Yeah. So the first episode was Twovix. Not spelled with T-U-V-I-X, but T2, as in two, the number 2, Twovix. Ensign Boimler learns that he's due to be promoted while the Cerritos is escorting the decommissioned starship Voyager to Earth to become a museum displaying exhibits about its chaotic adventures in the Delta Quadrant. As someone says, it was Voyager, shit got weird. When a dormant Delta Quadrant macrovirus is awakened, Boimler's distraction allows it to combine with Borg technology, contaminate the other exhibits, and take control of the ship. After encouraging words from Ensign Mariner, Boimler enlists Ensign Rutherford's aid to disable the ship's systems with a sample of homemade cheese, in fact, Neelix's cheese, that once infected Voyager. Meanwhile, back on the Cerritos, a stray Delta Quadrant flower petal causes a transporter accident that merges Dr. Tana and Chief Engineer Billups into a single person, Tillips. I love being alive! Captain Freeman learns when this happened on Voyager. Captain Janeway killed the merged person Twovix to bring back the original two individuals. Not wanting to suffer the same fate, Till begins Twovixing other members of the Cerritos crew. Ensigns Tendi and T'Lyn end up merging all the Twovix individuals into a huge ball of flesh before separating them all out again. Once the chaos is over, Boimler, Tendi, T'Lyn, and Mariner all receive promotions to Lieutenant Junior grade. So we saw T'Lyn again, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, they've been setting her up since season 2. I think she's going to be a good addition. I hope she's a regular. I hope she becomes part of the regular cast member. I think she brings a good energy that really pairs well with Tendi and Mariner. They're so excitable, and she's just. I like because they can't use Boimler as the straight man anymore. Because Boimler's sort of evolved as a character. He had actual character growth. So they are in need of a straight man now, and I think she's a good foil to them.
Yeah,
the Squidward to their SpongeBob.
Yeah, she's kind of interesting, and she's interesting because she's expressive for a Vulcan. So it's kind of fun to play with that. Like,
I mean, she's less expressive than Spock.
Yeah, she's a full Vulcan. She's not a half Vulcan.
Yeah, that's true.
But when she said thank you to Tendi, when they ended up, like, she was like, why are you helping me? And Tendi told her and was like, we're friends and everything. And she said thank you. I was like, T'Lyn, that is a shocking display of emotion.
I mean, that's always been her shtick. That's always been her shtick. I love the episode from season 2 with her. It's one of my favorite episodes of all Star Trek.
Yeah. I apologize for my outbursts when they're yelling at her for her out. T'Lyn, that is a terrible outburst. I cannot believe you raise your voice like that.
We do get some of that in Strange New Worlds, like when Spock is arguing with that other Vulcan in episode.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry you had to see that.
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
It's always it's never not funny. It's such a good bit.
Oh yeah, it's always a good bit. Yeah, I like this. I didn't mind this episode. It was fun to be back. I thought it was just kind of fun in the sense that the minute Boimler heard he was going to get promoted, he's like, oh god, everything's going to go wrong. And it wasn't even a self-fulfilling prophecy. He was just sort of like, it's just the way things go, and they did. And they just kept getting worse and worse. That was kind of entertaining.
I didn't love this episode. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a solid episode. I liked a lot of his character work. I think part of the reason why I didn't gel with it is because I don't watch Voyager. I watched I've watched a good chunk of up to season 2 and some of season 3. But there were just a lot of references I didn't get.
Okay. Yeah. There were some, like, I got some of them. Not all of them. Like, I hadn't watched as much of it either. But Twovix, it was kind of fun.
One, obviously. So that's around where I stopped watching in my recent watch through. So initially, when it originally aired, I watched the season 3. In trying to rewatch it, I dipped around somewhere on season 2. I remember the Fear episode with the clown that was stabbing people. I remember that episode, and I remember the episode with where Tom and Jamie get turned into salamanders.
Yeah, the salamander sitting in the captain's chair. I was dying because I was like, that's probably the Janeway salamander.
Yep.
So I thought that was funny.
So those were the references I got, but there was a lot of references. I'm just like, I don't. Well, and Janeway's romance novels. Now I gather that character.
The Chaotica thing is like some Bride of Chaotica.
Yeah.
Episode.
Yeah,
it's another Janeway thing. Yeah. And Gary was like the Irish guy who was like one of Janeway's hookups.
Yeah, that character did appear in some of the episodes I watched, but it was a minor throwaway bit that like Janeway goes onto the holodeck and plays like romance LARPs.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the black and white penny opera villain is like a Tom and Kim thing where they go in and play a penny opera pulp sci-fi. I've never seen that episode, but like I've seen like gifs and stuff of it, so I got the joke.
Yeah.
But I said, the nostalgia stuff just didn't. I don't do nostalgia for Voyager, so the nostalgia stuff just bounced off of me.
The thing I liked was when they showed Voyager and they had the Voyager theme and everything, and Mariner freaks the fuck out, and then she's like, "Is what Boimler will probably say," you know?
Yeah, that. Like,
and Freeman's looking at her like, yeah, okay, whatever. I know you're nerding out.
I like the character work in it. I think it does good character work. I like the fact that like Boimler is self-sabotaging and is like, and then Mariner's like, no, I recommend you for the promotion. Get the fuck out of this.
I don't even know if he was self-sabotaging. I feel like just shit was going wrong and he was just like, I just give up because this is just the way it goes. And she was like, no, you actually deserve the promotion.
Yeah.
Right? Like you shouldn't give up. You should try your hardest.
Interestingly, is her arc from the next episode.
Yeah, no, she was actually self-sabotaging, I think, to be honest. I don't know if Boimler was. I just think I think he was just like, oh, everything's gonna go wrong and I give up.
I also think the A plot and the B plot were a bit. I think this might actually be my issue with it. The A plot and the B plot are very similar.
Yeah.
So they come off like I think they under. I don't think they like by having an A plot and B plot that is basically a big threat takes over Voyager. Like, pick one. Like, yes, you gotta have an A plot and a B plot. Like, you gotta give Rutherford and Tendi. Although the Rutherford, although the Tendi and the Vulcan, what's her name?
T'Lyn.
The Tendi T'Lyn plot was the funnier of the two.
Yeah. I was very impressed with T'Lyn. I was like, holy shit, she's incredible. Like, I mean, she turned them into a big blob of. Well, first off, it was very funny to see like them, like first off, Tillips being like, I love being alive, and I'm like, oh my god, of course, right? Yeah, then when they started knocking out senior staff and throwing them on the transporter and merging them, I'm like, oh my god, this is hilarious.
That's a good bit. It's a good bit. I think it was It was much funnier than the holograms.
It was much funnier. Yeah, that was funny. They're like, oh no, you're gonna kill me for being merged. I'll just merge all the senior staff, and then you can't kill any of us. Yeah, that's what I really enjoyed. That I thought that was very, very funny.
It was a good play. I think I actually think part of the reason why I didn't like to care. I shouldn't say why I didn't care for the episodes where I frequently lower decks is that the less interesting Borg holograph plot kept taking time away from that more interesting story.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, it was just a bunch of a bunch of Voyager MacGuffins, basically. Right, yeah, and it's just that were supposed to, like, you know, just be callbacks that were getting in the way of Boimler's promotion. Yeah, so Boimler could feel like, so his confidence issues could come back. Because I think these two episodes were just like confidence issues for those two characters of different kinds, right?
whereas like having them both something to do in the same crisis instead of creating two separate, equally bad crises, would have been the way to go. And like I said, also like the hologram crisis, like I said, it's pretty boring. It's just like, here's all this nostalgia stuff from Voyager.
Yeah, and like who would install holographic emitters all over a ship? That's like the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Actually makes sense to me because it's a museum. So you could have like a hologram of Janeway giving the tour, stuff like that, right?
Sounds like a bad idea to me. That's
and
all
clearly
I'm saying.
it was.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster, and clearly it was. Yeah, I mean, and merging them all into the blob was horrifying. And it was interesting because it was the only way for them to get out of the situation without it being a moral dilemma.
Yeah, right.
As Tendi pointed out, because she's like, yeah, Talin's like, I thought you had moral issues, and she's like, yeah, but they're all kind of a big blob, and I'd rather have my friends back than have a giant blob.
Well, and also it's just like, this is a non-sentient blob. I am past the moral issues.
Yeah. My moral issues are my friends are a non-sentient blob, and I'd like them to be back.
Yeah, it much fun. Like the solution. Like I can see if you watch Voyager, the solution to the hologram problem being Neelix's cheese. Like if you're a fan of Voyager, pardon?
It was kind of funny.
It bounced off of me. It might have, if I was a fan of the episode, it might have, or if I was a fan of the show it was referencing, I might have had a different response to it. It just bounced right off me. I was like, eh.
I didn't know anything about the cheese, but it sounded like something that would happen on Voyager.
They do set it up in the early episodes, so at least it doesn't come out of nowhere. But lost Nicole. She was kind of slowing down there for a sec. I'm not hugely surprised. Hopefully she comes back soon. And she died. Yeah,
I was trying to stop and start it again, and I didn't know I would totally disappear. I thought I'd still be a blank screen.
No,
dear.
You were being choppy, so I get why you did it. Yeah, I like I said, if I had nostalgia for the episode in question, it might have that joke might have been a payoff. It didn't work on me. Like I said, I enjoyed the Twovix half of the episode. I didn't enjoy the hologram half.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the camera. It could be Wi-Fi or something. But
yeah. I'm hearing you fine. You're coming through just fine on the audio end, but you are very choppy on the video.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop the video for a minute because it's being weird, but I'll see if I can start it up again in a sec. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. But it wasn't, it wasn't great. I think it was really.
Also, do you want to highlight this Genesis Legend? I quite like this Genesis Legend comment.
Yeah, I do too, actually. Oh, did it show?
Yep.
I couldn't see. Did it go away?
Nope, it's still there.
Okay, my display is totally messed up. But anyways, I'm the emergency tour guide hologram. What is your tourist emergency? Yeah, that's ideal. I would like to see that. That would be really good. Oh, see? That's weird. Now I see it.
Oh, weird. Now it's gone for us.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe my I think I'm just behind everybody else.
Okay. Like I said, your audio is still coming through clear. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think everything's just slower for me than everything else.
All right. Do you want to keep going, or do you want to reboot, or?
No, I think it's fine as long as the audio is still coming through. I mean, that's okay. I don't really know why. Like, it is what it is.
We've still got one more episode of Lower Decks to get through, so.
Yeah. I think we're mostly wrapped up with this. So, did you have anything else you wanted to say about it? Or?
No. As I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It wasn't my favorite episode of Lower Decks. I might have liked it more if I was more familiar with Voyager. Voyager is the one Trek that I don't know very well.
Yeah, I think maybe that was part of it with me. But I liked that everyone got promoted, and I liked the reason for Mariner getting promoted as well. I really kind of enjoyed that. That was quite cool.
I think we'll talk more about the promotions in the next episode because it's a major theme.
Yeah, but you know, like she was sort of like, oh, why? And you know, yeah, that's the major theme of the other episode. But one of the fun parts of this episode with the promotions was Tendy's reaction to her promotion. I thought was super fun, which was like, oh my god, really?
I enjoyed that scene a lot. Like I said, once they were off, really, it was really just the B plot, the Voyager B plot. I didn't like. I liked the A plot. I liked the stuff with the Twovix stuff. It was the more holograms I didn't care for. The rest of the episode I thought was really fun.
And then I think they kind of set up the next episode with you know, Mariner being kind of bummed out about the promotions.
Absolutely.
And saying like, well, we're not really lower decks anymore.
Yeah.
And then Boimler is like, well, we're the lowest of the officers. We're not doing anything good anyway.
Yeah, we're still lower decks. We're just like
we're still basically lower decks. Oh my god! Yeah. Wow. Oh well, I'm gonna keep this off.
Now it's even worse.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. All right. Must be something in the area. Anyways, the next episode after this one, which it also deals with Mariner's issues with her promotion, as we were saying, is I have no bones, yet I must flee. Which is referencing
I didn't grab the title.
I have no mouth, yet I must scream, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is Harlan Ellison, short story / video game. Old point and click video game from the 90s.
Yeah. And it's a short story, post-apocalyptic science fiction short story.
Harlan Ellison was also a writer on the original series.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if it actually was, you know, they did anything based on this in here. Probably not. Though this is all about Soviet. It's all about the Cold War. So I doubt.
I've both read the book and played the game. There was nothing in there.
Yeah. So it's just a reference, and it's probably just a nice reference to this. And this one is a pretty classic TOS kind of episode too. So this is basically Mariner tries to turn in her promotion in this episode, and Ransom refuses to let her do it. I think it's in this episode. Yeah,
I think that's actually in last episode. I think it's the first episode where that happens. Because this episode starts with
in the first episode, she tries to turn it in, and he refuses to let her, and he says like, "I believe in you, and I'm not going to give up on you."
We forgot about the Klingons when we're talking about first episode.
That's in the second one.
Nope, that's this one. This first episode.
Oh, Klingons are in the first episode. The Romulans are in the second episode. That's right. So they're actually, you know, they're setting up a larger plot. At the end, they're cheering lower decks, and there's probably no threats, mysterious threats, and then when they're like, then they start cheering, no mysterious threats, which is great. And there is in fact a mysterious threat, because I think it's the same Klingon from Weidouche, which is kind of sad because I think that dude is dead. I'm
not sure he is. I'm wondering if that thing is blowing up the ships but taking the crews.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, because it might have been. Anyways, there was a Klingon ship. We saw the dude from Weidouche from 3 Ships in the first season or the second season, and he was they were having some Klingon banter with someone else in the Klingon lower decks and complaining about their superior officer, and then the ship shows up that looks like, I don't know, sort of like Boba Fett's ship, except without less features.
Yeah.
And it's
intentionally nondescript.
Yeah, it's nondescript except Boba Fett ship-like. It kind of flies the same and shuts down all their controls and basically destroys the ship. And with a beam of light that could have destroyed the crew or could have beamed them out of there. We don't know. And then the first episode opens with a similar scene with a Romulan. And we see Romulan lower deckers who are cleaning up after torture. And essentially, this was so funny, talking about how they are more devious and scheming than the other, which was some funny shit. I
would watch. I want them to do another 3 ships style episode with the Romulans. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Romulans were really good. They just talking in like just the most stereotypical and evil voices about how evil and devious. So you can't stab him in the back because I am
in the back before your mother had committed her first murder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just like, did you do this? No, of course not. I would never do such a thing. If I was going to stab you in the back, I would have done it in a way better way than this ship. And, it's just really funny. All the Romulans are just constantly talking about how they're knifing each other in the back and plotting to murder each other and everything. Yep. So yeah, that was pretty great.
Then a ship shows up and blows them up. And I think that it's
in the same way.
But, that's just a vibe. There's no evidence today that's just that it took the crew. You don't see any bodies, but with lower decks you probably wouldn't anyways.
But it was very similar and interesting.
And then we premiere. Then this episode starts with Mariner overhearing Shaq and Ransom talking about her, and she thinks that they're gonna like fuck with her, so she starts self-sabotaging.
Yeah, and I'll just read this really quick. So Mariner thinks she overhears Ransom saying that she will inevitably be demoted to ensign again, and resolves to act insubordinate to speed up the process. On a routine mission to rescue humans from an alien menagerie, because humans are always getting trapped in alien menageries, Mariner's behavior is irreverent and undisciplined. When a dangerous creature, Moopsie, escapes from its cage, Ransom accuses Mariner of releasing it in order to get demoted. He tells her he has faith she will succeed as a lieutenant and will not let her sabotage her own career. The two collaborate to return Moopsie to its cage. That's one way of putting it. And discover that the humans in the menagerie freed Moopsie in order to kill the curator and take over the menagerie themselves. Meanwhile, Rutherford is anxious that Tendy's promotion will ruin their friendship. He spends the day trying to impress Billups with his engineering skill in order to earn his own promotion, only to be outdone at every turn by the new Ensign Livick. Tendy eventually assures him that they will remain friends no matter what. Learning that Rutherford has turned down promotions for heroic achievements in the past, Tendy simply asks Billups to give him the promotion he is due, which Billups immediately grants.
Yeah, I didn't. Sorry.
Go on.
I didn't love the Rutherford plot overall. I love the resolution. It was so Rutherford. Wait, I can just ask for things I deserve.
Yeah, I realized later on that it was really just like when Tendy is like, "Oh, I don't think it's that easy for you to get a promotion." Why Rutherford thought it was that easy to get a promotion. Because he's been offered promotions so many times in the past that he's like, oh, well, it won't be a problem. I can just get another one. No big deal. So, I just thought it was kind of entertaining in the sense that he had this like nemesis for a while. And then, the payoff was good. And Rutherford and Tendy too. So now he has this guy Livick, and the way they drew Livick was so great. This guy, this like smirky faced dude, the whole time, like just the whole time looking evil. Like, haha, I've stolen your promotion again. So that was pretty good.
Hey, Billups, can Rutherford have a promotion for the time he took off the Cerritos' exoskeleton? Sure, whatever. Sorry.
Remove the hull. Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, Livik, next time.
Yeah. Yeah. The overall, like, it's not that it wasn't. Once again, it's one of those things that it wasn't. I didn't think it was funny. I did. I just liked the A plot so much more. But I did think the resolution where Rutherford is just like, wait, I can just ask for things I deserve, was I thought that line was so funny.
Yeah. No, it was very funny. And with the A plot, with the menagerie plot, first off, it was great. It was great to have, after everything happened with Mariner and no one believed her, to have it pay off with Ransom being like, I believe you. I believe that you didn't free. If you say you didn't, I trust you.
I want to say, they do Alien way better than Strange New Worlds did.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was good in a lot of ways, and it was great because, like, the thing was so cute, just like this bone drinking adorable thing,
at least
like
the bone
waddling its way, and then moopsie, and then when it was like jumping up on the window, like its teeth out, licking the window to try and get at the bones.
The scene where it's like smashing into the door and bouncing off.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I think the scene where I laughed the most is where they're turning on the curator, being like, "You probably let it out. You don't even have bones. You're a plant." And he's just like, "What? No!" And then drops onto his.
He's like, "I'll have you know, I am
awesome.
awesome. I'm ossified." And then it drops, and eats him. And they're like, "Oh my god!"
I laughed so hard. That was just such good timing. Like, really, really solid comedic timing. Probably one of my single, like, favorite, like, timing gags in all of Lower Decks.
Yeah, it was pretty excellent, and just the animation of the menagerie was like amazing. It was very beautiful. They managed to like capture so many things that have been in so many different episodes of the show. Just really impressive.
Titmouse really outdid themselves on this episode.
Yeah, they even had the thing that Q turned into, that 3 snake thing on the globe.
I caught that.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I'm sorry, I keep trying to turn on my camera. It's just not happening. I'm not sure why. Not sure what's going on with it. I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi or something else. So I'm just going to leave it off for now. In any case, I thought it was excellent. I thought going back to, Mariner getting a promotion, having her kind of revive her issues, made a lot of sense.
I should also be sitting up straight so that my face isn't behind my name tag.
Oh yeah. But I liked how they did it, that it was just not a constant thing, and that she was willing to listen to reason from someone. That really showed that she has had some growth, and that she's not going to completely screw things up. And then actually there was the C plot of Boimler and his bad luck with rooms.
It's funny because when he gets into the first room and it's like bright red, I'm just like, there's got to be a dampener for this. This is Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it turns out there was, and he's just a dumbass.
Yeah, he's a dumbass, and he's like, "Oh no!" Rutherford figured it out right away, but that's why it's good that he's roommates with Rutherford, because apparently he's too much of a dumbass or panic to figure it out.
I wonder, we didn't really get this, but I wonder if some of the women are going to be bunking with each other as well, or if they're going to have their own private quarters.
They decided to have their own rooms. Like, they said specifically that they decided to be roommates so they could maybe get better quarters. Rutherford and Boimler, because
Boimler wanted out of the red room, which unfortunately he then got.
The red room, and then the holodeck room, the room between the 2 holodecks, where he was either hearing
room between 2 holodecks.
Yeah, either hearing Tana and Shax and their creepy Robin Hood
horrible sex.
Yeah,
They decapitate.
Was it sex? Well, I guess it was foreplay when she was beating up Robin
We saw
Hood.
what they did on the bank robbery scene. That was absolutely sex. They are absolutely murdering holodeck actors while fucking.
Yeah. And he's like, can't we just do something normal for once? She's like, no, I'm killing this guy.
Yeah.
And she was going off to kill the sheriff of Nottingham. Oh my god. And then listening to Freeman talk about being president of the Federation. And the other side. So yeah, Boimler just kept getting screwed on the room situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun episode. I really enjoyed the menagerie, and I enjoyed that the humans let them out to try and take it over, and that their punishment.
I thought there was gonna be a plot twist where the random ensign that was with them was going to turn into the one who did it. Like,
I thought it was the humans all along. I thought they just liked it better there or something. They didn't have to do anything.
I thought it was gonna be like Mariner somehow, like through all of her self-sabotage, convinced him that there was gonna be a reveal where she did something and then he was the one who released it as like revenge.
Oh no! I thought the humans just liked being taken care of and didn't want to do anything, but I didn't catch on to the whole. Oh, it's just making so much money that we actually want to stay here and take over and get this guy killed so we can run it, which is actually pretty funny and good as well. So. That makes sense as well. I also like that they were like, so as punishment, we'll just leave them here until another Starfleet ship.
Might be a while.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. It's also something I don't have a lot to say about. I thought it was just solid. It was a solid episode. Also, we've been talking for over an hour and a half already because we had through
I was just gonna say, like, I'm not really sure how much more there is to say about it, like beyond what we said, but
I like that we're getting character growth. There's a myth in comedy writing that you can't do comedy and have character growth, and I very blatantly do not agree with that philosophy. So I like that we are getting character growth.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I like that. Like Boimler's growing up, and Mariner's starting to like deal with her emotional baggage. Tendi not so much. I mean, Tendi we did get some character growth last season, but not nearly as much. I mean, Tendi and Rutherford are usually the B story characters, so it would stand a reason they wouldn't get as much character growth.
I think there's some more coming because the upcoming episodes, I was just going to look at those. We've got just the log lines for the next two in episode 3, and there's no more 2 episode kind of situations. Episode 3 is called In the Cradle of Vexilon. Boimler leads his first away mission on an alien megastructure. And episode 4 is Something Borrowed, Something Green. Tendi is summoned back to Orion to attend a wedding.
I'm always happy to see more Tendi on Orion. I loved Tendi. I think it was season 2 where Mariner and Tendi go to Orion. I loved that. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. And they find out that she's, mistress of the winter, which came up. That was great.
Yeah.
We forgot about that in Strange New Worlds. That Tendi's like whole ancestor, Tendi's like great grandmother was on the Orion science ship.
Yep.
And so they ended up like saying that the Orions discovered this thing, which Tendi had said in the first place. Orions discovered this, and set Orion on a path of scientific discovery, because like this Orion guy who's down there is like, That's all I ever wanted, was to be respected as a scientist, basically, you know? And so that's part of it, because part of the Tendi, Mariner, and Boimler are useful, actually, because they're like, oh yeah, Orion served in Starfleet from the time we come from. And one of our best friends is an Orion, and she's a scientist. And they're not just seen as pirates. So that was really cool. So I see, like, actually a lot more happening for Tendi. And, like, she's already been, like, she was a big, huge part of, you know, without even being there, of the Strange New World episode.
Yeah, no, I thought it was I like another reason why I kind of wish we'd seen her. Although
Do you have Discord on?
Pardon? I
Oh,
yeah, I got someone. Oh, that's right. My audio goes wonky when I open Discord.
Yeah,
because it pulls the audio from the both. I closed it now.
Yes.
Someone just messaged me
no
very
worries.
quickly.
Yes, and it's kind of racist to call all Orions pirates in our time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was like I said, I just wish we got more. I just really wish. My only major complaint about the Lower Decks crossover with Strange New Worlds is that we didn't get live action Tendi and Rutherford. I get why, for practical and writing reasons. Also, they may not just have been available. Like, they may not have been available due to the episode.
Yeah, I think it'll
also,
happen.
they're the B characters. They get the B plots.
Yeah, I think it'll happen though. But I mean, they don't get all the B plots, obviously, because I mean, like, sometimes they get the A plots, and obviously episode 4 is a Tendi episode.
And Rutherford was instrumental to the big season finale of season 1.
Yeah, and Rutherford had his whole episode where he had to, like, you know, fight himself in his head, like in a Data type situation, Data lore.
Yeah. But generally speaking, they get the B plots. Like,
generally, yeah. Like, I mean, they are not in the center of the poster.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, which is, you know, a situation. But I mean, it's fine. And I think the next one that they do, they will for sure be in, you know, in the next crossover.
Each of them gets at least one episode a season, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so, and some of the other ones do too. So, I mean, I also liked in the episode, the second episode, when Mariner and Ransom were arguing. Mariner went through all of the things that Ransom had done, like turn into a giant head and chase her, etc., etc. So that was pretty funny too.
You turn a giant head and try to eat me.
Yes, exactly. Yep. I mean, it wasn't his fault, but I mean, he did, in fact, turn into a giant head and try.
It wasn't his fault he got turned into a giant space god. It was his fault that he chose, while being a giant space god, he chose to try and eat the Cerritos.
That's true. That's true. He had choices. Choices were made. Some of them were bad choices.
I gotta go back and rewatch season 1, man. I remember. I watch these episodes as they come up. I don't really go back and watch them, but I gotta go back and watch the original episodes because, oh man, Stranger Worlds in particular is really rewatchable.
Yeah.
Or not Stranger Worlds. Lower Decks is super rewatchable.
I'm hoping we have them recorded now because they're not on Crave anymore, unfortunately.
They're on Paramount Plus, or as I discovered today, this is why it took me a while to watch them. I do have them on demand.
Yeah, they're on demand and they're on CTV Plus, like CTV, you know, channel whatever. But you can't. They only go back one season. Like it's not all
on demand. On demand.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Or at least every season was listed. I didn't try and watch the episodes.
Well, so if they're listed, you can probably watch them.
That's my thought. So, but yeah, it does mean that I'm stuck with ads now.
That is the unfortunate part.
Because the main appeal to streaming is the lack of ads. Because I fucking hate ads. Although I'm getting really cynical about streaming in general. Yeah, I don't. once WD started writing off shows for tax write-offs and just making them unavailable to the public, I was just like, okay, fuck these services.
Yeah, it's a real problem. And one last thing they do, as I mentioned really briefly earlier, they do mention going back in time in the first episode of Lower Decks when Mariner mentions, oh, this is like something about the Voyager thing is no weirder than the Pike thing, which we're not supposed to talk about.
Yep.
So they do that happen just before the opening of the season, I suppose. So that's kind of cool, and I'm sure it will come up again at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. Like it's definitely going to come up. There are definitely going to be repercussions, whether we see Pike or not again. But
hopefully
it
will be animated next time, and we'll see the animated Strange New Worlds crew.
I kind of want it to be half-half.
That would be cool.
Like similar,
I like the half-half.
Similar to how the Strange New Worlds episode was shot, where like it's the parts that are set in the future are animated, the parts that are set in the past are live action.
Yeah, I like the half-half. I enjoyed that. It was pretty cool. So yeah.
Also, sorry, I was going to say, I think we're going to be seeing Badgie again this year.
Well, he is in the poster.
He's in some of the promo materials. So I really strongly suggest that we are seeing Badgie again. I
hope so. As is the evil computer, and so there's a few interesting people in the posters and the promo materials. I really hope we see Badgie. It's been a while, so I would love to see Badgie again.
Yeah. I quite enjoy Badgie. Also, as someone who has been reading the Lower Decks comics, I really hope Dracula makes it from the comics into the show. I quite enjoyed when they did the Moriarty plotline, but with Dracula. That was very fun.
That would be pretty funny. But yeah, we'll have to see. Gary,
Ryan North, the writer for the comics from Toronto, we shop at the same comic shop. Let's try to get him in for an interview.
That would be cool. I'm sure Jim actually knows him, so I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem. But like, we probably know people in common.
Yeah.
So
I've definitely met him before. Like we have run into each other at, like, we're not friends, but we've run in. He shops at the Big Island, which is where I get my comics, and we've bumped into each other there a couple times.
I'm just saying we probably have friends who are friends with him.
Oh, yeah, we definitely do. I mean,
namely, like Jim Zubkovich.
Yeah, I don't know Jim. I know of Jim. I've met him a handful of times, but like he wouldn't know me for a whole no. That was before my time in LARP. I really did come in with the Requiem LARP. I had never LARPed before that. That was my introduction to LARP.
I do. So yep. I mean, that's something that I could ask.
He definitely is in my circles. A lot of my friends know him. I've met him at conventions, but I wouldn't say talking to someone at a convention means I know them, right?
Okay. No, that's fair. That's totally fair. There was something else I was going to mention very quickly. Let me look.
What do you think this? We probably won't see a resolution to this ship going around blowing up Romulan and Klingon ships until the last episode. I suspect that.
I don't know. That's what I was going to mention when Gary saw the ship. He said, "What's this ship from the future doing, blowing up ships?"
Maybe.
And why would it be here? And I said,
"It's a Discovery crossover."
No, I said, well, perhaps because people are messing around with the time stream.
Oh, so you think you and Gary think do think it's a time traveling ship, eh?
Gary thinks it's a time traveling ship, and I said that one of the reasons for a time traveling ship showing up would be because people are messing around with the time stream.
Yeah, I mean, the Time Wars is something that is, even if like Enterprise goes into the Time Wars quite extensively. Time Wars are largely pretty unexplored in Star Trek because, like,
Strange New Worlds is messing with the Time Wars quite significantly.
A little bit, nowhere near to the extent that Enterprise, because Enterprise was all about them, but you only ever see them from outside, right? It's because in Enterprise, the Time Wars are sending people back in time to fuck with the past.
Yeah, but both the Starfleet Temporal Agency and the Time Wars have both resurfaced like recently, and but, so that's something that could come up.
Yeah, it's just we don't have any show about them. Like, we don't. Although I kind of suspect the Emperor Georgiou movie, which I'm going to pirate that. I doubt that is going to be on CTV. Hopefully, I'm wrong. But the Section 31 movie, I suspect, will have something to do with the Time Wars.
I would just say, like, the way that they're kind of tying everything together, if that's about the Time Wars, if that's the case, that Section 31 is going to be about the Time Wars, and they've surfaced it in Strange New Worlds, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Lower Decks plot about it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either. The Temporal Cold War is, well, there's also the Temporal Hot War, like, because that war does go hot eventually. Mm-hmm. And then, like, Discovery just circumvents it entirely by sending the Discovery so far in the future. But
maybe it is something to do with Discovery, though. Maybe they're just like, oh, where's Discovery?
It might like, also,
who the fuck is Discovery?
It might also be tied into Picard, because Picard has the machine god things from season 1 that never got revisited.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of future, machine robot type things that are zapping things around.
Before we go, I have a digression. Although you sound like you had a thought, so maybe go to that before I go for my digression.
Well, I was just going to quickly say, have you heard any of the rumors of Picard season 4?
No. The only thing I have heard of is the rumors of Legacy, which hasn't been formally announced, but everyone kind of seems to be taking it as a given.
I will not take anything as a given the situation that Paramount is in.
Yeah, I think people like taking that there for sure is going to be a Star Trek Legacy. I think people are jumping the gun on this. Like, yes, it was very strongly set up, but that doesn't mean we're going to see it.
I don't know about this. Were the machine gods basically a Verger callback?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so. They were too Lovecraftian. They were like weird tentacle things from beyond reality. If anything, they gave me Mass Effect vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a season 4 of Picard. I certainly haven't heard Patrick Stewart re-upping his contract. I have heard people seem to be taking the fact that there is for sure definitively going to be a Generations as fate value. I think that's a mistake. Nothing's been announced.
Yeah, me too.
And I haven't even heard any like definitive rumors. So, yeah, the only rumbling I hear about, and this is going to be my digression, is that it certainly looks like Prodigy got saved.
Oh.
Because they released some finished animation from season 2. And I don't think they would have done that if they weren't doing something with it. What that something is, who knows? It might be a DVD only release or a Blu-ray only release, because the rest. So the first couple episodes of Prodigy were released on Blu-ray, and I own that Blu-ray. But as I gather, the rest of it was recently released. I have not picked up the rest of it. And I guess it's doing very well on Blu-ray sales.
There might be consideration of that too, releasing the rest, because I guess the Babylon 5 movie is doing quite well as well.
Oh, is that out?
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was coming. I didn't realize it was out.
It looks really good too.
You know me.
The animation looks great.
So I'm wondering. So, anyways, I'm seeing some nothing. I don't think there's been a formal announcement that Prodigy Season 2, but they've released some stuff from it, and I can't imagine they would release that stuff if they weren't doing something. That's something they might be putting on a different streaming service. That's something might be. Okay, so here I'm looking at comicbook.com right now. Star Trek Prodigy Producers offers a Season 2 update. Yeah, continue with ads. Fuck off. Oh, it's not liking my ad blocker. Alright, well, fuck you, comicbook.com.
Okay.
Star Trek Prodigy Season... Okay, I'm on IMDb now, and there's an article on it. Paramount has confirmed that Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 is releasing this year.
Oh.
Creator Kevin and Dan Hagman of Star Trek Prodigy is joined by a venture between Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. Prodigy Season 1 premiered in 2021, but broke up into 20 episodes into two halves. Prodigy's second set of 10 episodes released
2021?
In 2022. While Prodigy's goal to bring new young viewers, when was this released? Is this an old article? No, this is from this month. Oh no.
Okay.
It might be. I don't know how they 2/9/2023. I don't know if that is.
That
I don't know how they ordered their dates.
December.
Yeah, it could be December, or it could be.
Seems like February.
It could have been December, or it could have
February.
been
February.
February, yeah. I don't know which.
It sounds like it's February.
Okay, let's see if I can find anything else reliable. Okay, here's Screen Rant. Oh, Screen Rant also gives me ad blocker issues. Star Trek Core. Yeah, so here's what I was initially referring to. This is from I'm gonna post this in the. This is from August. And I can't. This isn't a confirmation that's coming, but I can't imagine them releasing this. Without it coming back. Get your first look at Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 and the USS Voyager A in new footage. And we get like Robert Picardo in like Star Trek Prodigy style.
I heard about this as well, yeah.
I can't imagine expect it to be complete around Christmas 2023. So yeah, like it really sounds like the Prodigy, like we did successfully save Prodigy.
As Genesis the Legend says, turns out once you have an actor and writer strike, maybe it's worth releasing the second season of a show that's already done.
Yeah. I mean, that might be why. It might just be, it might not be a fan campaign. It might just be because of like, oh, we have a thing to release. Because it was basically done.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I would guess. Yeah, exactly. So that would be one of my thoughts. Yeah, that it's entirely possible that like, you know, if you have a show pretty much done and you don't have anyone else, you know, anything else in the pipe, like that's why I'm thinking a lot of platforms are releasing their reality really quickly. I don't think that's why Survivor and Amazing Race went 2 hours, but I think that their CBS is pretty happy that they did decide to go 2 hours these seasons. Because now that, or 90 minutes, sorry, they're doing 90-minute episodes for the next season, and they're probably pretty happy that they chose to do that. Sorry?
I said they just got to fill those time slots. I mean, reality TV is cheap.
No, they I think they made that decision because they had to shoot them well ahead.
I see.
They can't just like, they actually had to shelve an Amazing Race season that was already shot and ready to go on air and shoot a new one to actually accommodate having 90-minute episodes. So, yeah. And I mean, yeah, Prodigy, as Genesis of Legend points out, is produced by folks not covered under the striking union. So, I mean,
I guess
there's a lot of people, like, animators aren't covered under the unions.
but the voice actors would be, I think.
The voice actors, yeah, they can't promote it, but the animators,
yeah,
and
as we all know,
animating writers probably and directors can probably also.
But Prodigy was already written and probably recorded, so
yeah, no,
like,
it's done. Like as far as I know, it was much finished.
Yeah, they were in the animation process, and it was mostly animated. I think they had like 90% left, something like that.
The actors just can't promote it.
Yeah,
you know, that's the only downside. But no one's promoting anything anyway, so there you go.
Yeah, the closest thing we saw to promotion was someone went to the picket lines in the Blue Beetle costume.
Yeah, TIFF is pretty dead right now at the moment. Toronto International Film Festival. It's very quiet. Even people who have waivers are not going. So
yeah. Yeah, it might be so it looks like in the pipes we got Discovery and we got Prodigy, and then it might be dead on the Star Trek front for a while.
That's entirely possible. It's entirely possible, but at least we have a Lower Deck season for now.
Well, and like I said, if we do get a dead spot, we've already discussed like maybe we'll do a Star Trek actual play or something.
However, there is movement in terms of the strike. I think I forget who it was. I think Showtime, one of the networks has made a deal.
Yep, one of the networks has conceded.
Yeah, so if one of them has made a deal, the dominoes will fall. Like it's gonna happen. Slowly but surely.
It also looks like the strike is going to expand to the video game industry.
Really? That's great. Good for them.
Yep. Because of all the voice actors, right? So they're all covered. All the voice actors are all covered under SAG-AFTRA as well. So
the video game companies are going to start to pressure these people, the other productions to send people back to work.
Yep,
certainly.
Well, especially because some of them are the same. Like Sony is one of the major. It's one of the major film producers.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Well, that is certainly going to pressure people because if they're not making money in multiple sectors, then that's not good for them. That will definitely put pressure on them too.
Right. Well, and all of these studios own, like all of these. Disney doesn't own any video game companies, but like WB does. Sony does. Most of the big studios are also in the video game industry.
Oh, A24 Genesis of Legend says A24 has also agreed to the terms.
Yeah, A24 agreed really early in too.
And they have blanket waivers, so that's good. And I forget which network did, but they also agreed. A24 agreed really early. That's great. It's good to hear. But yeah, I think the situation with a lot of actors and writers is going to be until everybody's got a deal. They're not really going to be limiting the promotions, even if people are working. I think that's kind of gonna be how it goes, and I think that's fair. I think that makes a lot of sense. In any case, let's wrap it up because internet for some reason is freaking terrible, and we've been going for quite a while, and my students keep emailing me because now I am teaching this year. I think I'm going to stick to my boundaries and not answer them till tomorrow, because that's what I said I wouldn't do. I said I wouldn't answer on the weekend, so I'm going to try to do that.
I think not answering emails on the weekend is a reasonable boundary.
I think it is too. They're really anxious though, which I understand. They're all first years, so that's understandable. They're scared they're not doing the right thing. But tomorrow I will tell you, you're all fine, and here's some more tips for how to do the right thing and not be scared. To wrap this up, just a little more on the strike. Genesis of Legend says, I adore the idea of the smaller studios agreeing, giving them a competitive advantage in getting movie industry folks some work during the strike, which is great. And I actually think it's great that, you know, some people are working. I mean, there are some people who say no one should work until everybody's got a deal. But I think, you know, as many people being able to work and get, you know, their bills paid is good. You know, I don't begrudge anybody being able to work, and anyone who does, I think, is not very bright. And kind of looking at things in a cutting off their nose to spite their face kind of way. If someone can get a job with a good deal, they should take it, and that doesn't shoot anyone else in the foot. Really, it just shames everyone else who isn't giving people a good deal and making people walk picket lines. That's what I think. In any case, good for the people who have given actors and writers a decent deal so far. Thank you so much. And shame on those who have not. And shame on my employer, York University, for making us work without a contract and probably go to a strike vote. And let's end it there.
All right.
Hopefully I won't have to go on strike. Knock wood. Have a great week. Enjoy everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for interacting with us. Green, thank you for being here and cramming into episodes of Lower Decks very quickly before the stream. Much appreciated.
At least I know I can get them on demand now.
Yeah, no, for sure, because now we're in a situation where a streaming war situation up here in Canada where everything is moving around and we don't know where our content will be anymore.
And I don't use any of them anymore.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Genesis of Legend. Thank you for watching and chatting with us.
Cheers.
We'd love to have you. Cheers. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. And Green will be on Bright Green City on Twitch in next week, talking about Indigenous anarchist issues and probably the environment. I'm sure.
That seems to be mostly what I'm talking about these days, but
yeah,
it's very, very pertinent to the themes of what we're talking about.
Yeah, totally. And pertinent often to Star Trek as well.
Yep.
So tune in. I will probably have it simulcast on this Twitch channel as well. So
all right.
Yeah, check it out. And we'll see you in 2 weeks to talk Star Trek. Hopefully I will not be a black screen.
All right. As always, live wrong and expire.
Live wrong and expire. Have a great couple of weeks, everybody. Tune in next time. Thanks for being here. And we'll talk to you soon. Watch more Star Trek and have fun with your life, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.